Good Samaritan, prodigal son, good shepherd, even the word talent. These are words and phrases you'd never have heard without the parables of Jesus. Whether or not you're a believer in Christianity, it's clear that the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth have had a tremendous impact on the world, right down to the words we use. In a piece for The Guardian, data analysts Stephen Skeena and Charles B. Ward claim that Jesus objectively holds the title of most significant figure in history, and it's hard to argue otherwise. Aside from his apparent resurrection, the Jesus of the Bible was known for two things: performing miracles and teaching in parables. The miracles are a given. After all, if you're going to claim to be the Son of God, you'd better have some cool tricks to back it up. But what were the parables for? Jesus often refused to just say what he meant. Instead, he turned his teachings into allegorical stories that illustrated his spiritual and moral ideas. So what gives? Well, for starters, Jesus didn't invent the parable. Both the ancient Greek and ancient Hebrew worlds have clear examples of them, and the Old Testament has quite a few of its own. Still, Jesus did for parables what Shakespeare did for sonnets. And while parables exist in other religious and philosophical traditions, those told by Jesus have entered a class of their own.
And the seeds that fell in good soil stand for those who hear the message and retain it in a good and obedient heart, and they persist until they bear fruit.
Indeed, people have been telling short stories with lessons about as long as they've been able to talk. Early examples can be found in Aesop fables, such as The Ant and the Grasshopper. Fables do tend to differ from parables, in the sense that fables involve talking animals or objects, while parables tend to be more realistic. But they're clearly related. The collision of the classical and Jewish worlds served as the context of Jesus' ministry, and both of these traditions have a history of using parables. On the pagan side, the Greek philosopher Prodicus famously told the story of Hercules at the crossroads, in which the mythological hero meets personifications of vice and virtue, and is asked to choose between an easy life and a noble life. The Old Testament also has its share of parables and fables. For instance, in 2 Samuel chapter 12, the prophet Nathan rebukes David for his assault of Bathsheba and the killing of her husband Uriah. To do so, he tells a story about a rich man who steals and slaughters a poor man's only lamb. Meanwhile, Judges chapter 9 includes a memorable fable about the trees looking to crown a king. The lesson is that the only individual who could want to be a king, represented here by a thorn bush, is probably going to be someone with nothing else valuable to offer. So why parables? The most obvious explanation is that Jesus' audience would have been familiar with them, since they had existed long before Jesus did. It might also have helped him keep people's attention. After all, it's easier to sell people a story than it is to sell them a theological or moral lesson. On the other hand, it's possible that Jesus' primary motivation in telling parables was to conceal his meaning from the authorities. If he was threatened with arrest for heresy or insurrection, he would be able to point out that he was simply telling stories. Of course, it's also worth remembering that in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus clearly tells his disciples why he teaches the way he does. He says, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. This is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand." So according to Jesus, he taught in parables to make sure only the right people understood him. Given that, it's a little weird that so many of them have become so iconic. But then again, no one really understands Moby Dick either. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more grunge videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.